certainly don't miss George W. Bush, but I do miss Frank Catalano's impersonation of him. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but he'd say something. You know, what did they tell me to answer that? Did I say that out loud? I guess he had to be there. What were we doing?
JC.
Oh, right. Okay.
I went to high school with George W.
You did not.
He was a year ahead of me in high school.
Really?
Yeah, and
You could have took him out.
I had my chance. I know. Isn't that something? And he was as you might expect, kind of a bully. You know, kind of he would kind of rag on the little kids. And there was a thing in when you were a senior. This is at Andover, which is a prep school in Andover. No, this is true. Yeah, and no, in Andover. It was a prep school, and he was a year ahead. And
I was in preschool with Gandhi.
you know,
That wasn't necessary, Mark.
was that before the Civil War, or was that?
I'm not even trying to be young anymore. Now I'm trading on old. So what about it? Yeah.
So
more thoughts?
There was this ugly tradition at Andover where the seniors, the first couple of days of school in the fall, could bully the new kids, and so
That's what they said?
that was actually a tradition that was kind of written down, and but every kid who ever came there, after the first 2 days they were there, they swore they wouldn't do it because they didn't want it done because it had been done to them. So I'm walking along on the first day of school, and I'm a junior, and George is a senior, and he's bullying some microscopic freshmen, and I say, George, knock it off. You swore to yourself you wouldn't do this when you were a senior, and didn't you? Because you didn't like the way it felt when it happened to you. And he said, yeah, I think you're right. And the kid ran off, the little kid ran off, and George he looked grateful in a way, as if, because when you're a teenager, you get into jags of misbehavior, and then you need somebody to just snap you out of it. That's kind of what friends are for, in a way, I think.
He does this stuff on our radio show, too, and I never know how to stop it. I don't know if it's true, folks.
Yeah, and
Don't get him started on the Renaissance, believe me. Anyway, this is a song. Thank you, Robert. This is
I told this to a friend of mine who's a writer in New York, and she said, well, Robin, you fucking idiot. If you just let him get it out of his system, we wouldn't be in Iraq today. Anyway.
Wow. So I was shooting craps one day with Joseph Stalin. Could have happened. I wrote this song at Kerrville, Texas, where they had this, I think they're having it now. It's a 3-week-long folk festival with a lot of campfires and song exchanges and stuff like that there. And the few times I've done it, you fly in, you do your gig, and you fly home. But there's people that go there for the whole 3 weeks. And what they do is they camp. Which is fine. Everybody's entitled to his or her pursuit. But they asked me to join them, and I had to explain not only that I would take a pass, but exactly why. Well, I was packing my gear after a festival appearance. The show had gone real good, when a bunch of people with a kind of earthy smell said, we're staying out in those woods. They said, we'd like you to join us, there's plenty of room. We've got a nice big tent and there's a big full moon. I stood upwind and said the only thing that I could. Yeah, I had to tell them, Jews don't camp. If it hasn't got a lobby, I don't want it for a hobby. It's cold and damp. Let me give you the news. Jews don't camp. Well, it's really quite simple. Part of my tradition tradition taught to me in my youth. After 40 years in the desert, the 11th commandment says, go to bed under a roof. I'm pretty certain I could live without real bear hugs. Ain't keen to be cuisine for $500,000 bugs. And 10 times out of 10 I pick bagels over berries and roots. That's why I gotta say, Jews don't camp. If it hasn't got a kitchen and it isn't air conditioned, where's the exit ramp? Get my walking shoes, 'cause Jews don't camp. If I were a Gentile, I would love to fish and hunt and get my water from a stream. But until there's seltzer in the brook, or maybe a nice day cream, hey, Jews don't camp. Using leaves instead of Charmin may be fine if you're a Mormon, but I'm not that stamp, so I gotta refuse, 'cause Jews don't camp. La la la, oi la la la, la la la, oi la la la. If you get tired of the diet, you can meet me at the Hyatt, babe. Jews don't camp. 'Cause when you sit down at a Seder, no one there is wearing waders. No, Jews don't camp. I got a giant television, it's a perk of circumcision, 'cause